How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex with my co-host here, Nick Nielsen. And today we want to discuss the demolition, the degradation, the deterioration of Aaron Hicks. An interesting situation where he's kind of been replaced by a myriad of players, including Oswaldo Cabrera has taken some snaps in the outfield. And obviously, you have Marwin playing right field yesterday. And, now you have center field just kind of fluctuating between Aaron Judge and the right field position just kind of in flux, being supplemented by a bunch of different players. And, Marwin deserves to be shot to the sun, and Peraza should be called up in exchange for him. And I think that's a whole discussion for another video. But, that's a big one, honestly. That's a big discussion that I really do want to have. But I want to focus on Aaron Hicks today. And Nick, obviously, he's been a polarizing player on this team, losing favor quickly, still has like 4 years left on his $7 year, $70 million deal. And this is kind of a weird situation where the Yankees are now strapped. They tried to get rid of him at the trade deadline, offload his contract, and nobody was biting for obvious reasons. Not even the Yankees want to play the man, and
what a surprise.
Other teams. Yeah, right. They probably tried to include him in another deal with other players and just take it, please. But nobody wanted to bite. So, Nick, when you're looking at Aaron Hicks, his value, the deterioration of that value, how do you see him making an impact on the stretch, if at all?
It's hard to imagine him making any impact, but that's the thing. Aaron Hicks always has the wildest moments. Like earlier in the season against Houston, he saved us. He had that one. Granted, these moments were a couple years ago, but that game against Minnesota was probably one of the greatest individual performances by a single player I've ever seen. The game in London, I think in 2018 or 2017, where it was like the 14-12 game, and he made the diving catch in center field. But that Aaron Hicks is long gone. This guy that we're watching play baseball right now is a shell of who he once was. It's painful, like you said, the deterioration, the degradation, and then what was the last one you said? There's the triple D's for Aaron Hicks, and the deterioration. There we go, or the demise, downfall. You could use any of the D words to describe how bad Aaron Hicks has been, and it's hard because, like you said, he's our backup center fielder because Benintendi doesn't play center. Marwin, Lord help us if we see him in center field. And Oswaldo Cabrera, they're already trying out at a myriad of different positions. So it's I don't know. They may try him in center. For all I know, who knows? But he's never played center field. So we're having to run out either our MVP, the league MVP, who is better in right field statistically, Aaron Judge. Not that he's bad in center, don't get me wrong. Or this guy that is frolicking in center field and can't catch a ball. Yesterday, people were all mad at him because of the one that went over the wall, the double doink. He can do no right. And in the month of August specifically, he has a -7 WRC plus and an average exit velocity of just 84.7 miles an hour. And for reference, Nicky Lopez on the season has an average exit velo of 85.2. So you're telling me that over the course of this month, Aaron Hicks has been hitting the ball softer than Nicky Lopez? He has 0 extra base hits this month. In his last 19 plate appearances, he has 0 walks. The things that he that's what he brings to the table. And he can't even do that. No wonder he's getting benched and we're seeing Marwin back-to-back days, which, as you mentioned, is a discussion for another time. But it does feed into this. Aaron Hicks being so ass makes it so we see Marwin more, it just makes me want to jump off a cliff. Marwin, for as bad as Aaron Hicks is, Marwin's been 30 times worse. He doesn't even have a hit since the All-Star break. Why are we running out these two bozos when we could call up Oswaldo Peraza, play him at shortstop, and just run Oswaldo in right and Judge in center until Bader comes back? And then Bader obviously slots in center field. That. And once Stanton comes back, he'll hopefully, and Boone said that he's going to be playing some more outfield still. And then we get Carpenter back in a couple of weeks. Basically, the point is that hopefully in a couple of weeks, both Aaron Hicks and Marwin Gonzalez will not be on this roster.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Hicks ultimately will be just because of all the injuries kind of happening. But like you said, he's been just god awful the past couple of weeks. In August, I don't think I've ever seen a player play this bad in a month. Straight up, he's having one of the worst months I've ever seen. You could pull up any probably AAA player right now the Yankees have, and they would perform better than this. He's hitting 109.
Elijah Dunham, Brandon Lockridge, or Everson Pereira. All three of those guys are the outfielders in AA Somerset. Yeah, Spencer Jones and High A, or is he still in Low A? He may have I think he got moved up to High A just the other day, Low A the other day. Even him. There's I can think of 15 guys in the system that are probably better than Aaron Hicks right now. And that's just showing how bad he is. He's got a 300 OPS this month. And he's playing like
Yeah.
every day. That's like 55 plate appearances too. Marwin, the stat I said since the All-Star break where he's hitless, he only has 22 plate appearances, but he's playing back-to-back days. So it seems like he has a lot more. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's just it's dumbfounding how like steep this fall off has been for Aaron Hicks. And it's
I
like a
know.
month by month thing. July, he bat 274 and was pretty solid. And then this month, you just come out there and do that? Like, oh, when we need you to
Yeah.
be healthy, when we need you to be good when everyone's injured, like this is just the worst time for you to not even remotely step up. And if anything, step down to a lower level. Like Aaron, we're not trying to finish in 7th place here. We're not getting participation medals. You need to step up or get cut.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a situation where Aaron Hicks can no longer be trusted in any situation, even low leverage. They pinch hit him a couple nights ago, and it was just disaster against the Rays in that walk off grand slam from Donaldson.
But that's because they
And
don't
he was
trust
useless.
IKF either. So they
Yeah,
pinch it IKF for Hicks, and it's like, oh God, why?
it's just all. I honestly, it's tough to imagine supplementing anybody for Aaron Hicks. He's hitting 109 this month with a less than 20% on base rate and a 109 slugging percentage too, 305 OPS, like I said before. This dude is sucking cheese. And if you look at his numbers with runners in scoring position, they're like actually cringeworthy. I'd rather somebody with no legs batting over Aaron Hicks right now, bro. With runners in scoring position, he's hitting 173 with a 28% on base rate, 309 slugging. He has 14 hits and 81 at bats. He's essentially freaking useless. He's a useless baseball player. Defensively, he looks like a chicken with his head cut off out there. He's running in freaking circles. I don't know what has happened. I don't understand how you could be this. I know confidence is a big thing for him. And like when he's not confident, he's essentially not a baseball player. He's more of an ice figure skater. But at this rate, he is not reliable. He went through one minor hot stretch this season where he looked confident. He was making good contact, but it lasted for like 2 weeks. And then he went cold again, and he's been cold since. So, the decision here is easy. You bench the shit out of this guy, and you do not let him sniff the field unless you have no other freaking choice. And right now, Marwin Gonzalez deserves to be shot to the sun with freaking Aaron Hicks attached to the same rocket, and they should call up Peraza now.
But
call
so
up
you put
Peraza.
Cabrera in right then? Yeah, Cabrera in right. Because his first play in right field, his first rep he's taken in right field, he robbed a home run. Like, yeah. When was the last time we saw Aaron Hicks rob a home run? Like 3 years ago? God, dude, it's been forever. That guy's, and it's like you said, Marwin, it's infuriating because now that for whatever reason, yesterday, the Yankees and against Manoah, the Yankees decided to wake up a little bit offensively, and they put together their 2 best offensive showings of the month, arguably, against the 2 hardest pitchers they've faced of the month, arguably. So I thought that was kind of funny. But then you watch like Aaron Hicks take at bats, and he didn't play yesterday. And no, he did play yesterday. Sorry, in center. And then you watch Marwin take at bats, and you watch them both play defense, and you're like, these two are. It's an anomaly to me just how bad they are together. And when you're putting them both in the same lineup, sometimes back to back, you're just asking for your lineup to get mowed down in the bottom third of it. Like every lineup that's good in baseball has 1 through 9 depth. And then you look at ours, and you're like, why are we still running out IKF, Hicks, Marwin as our 7, 8, 9? Like that 7, 8, 9 is the worst 7, 8, 9. And then like let's say you bump up IKF to 6 or bump up Hicks to 6 and you add in Higgy in there. It's just that's the problem. We cannot be having all of these guys struggling when we already rotate in mid guys, Like Marwin should not be seeing the field every day, and he's now having to because Aaron Hicks is so awful. Marwin didn't have an at bat for the month of like August until like 4 days ago. And now he's got like 22 plate appearances since the All-Star break. And it's like, wow, if Aaron Hicks wasn't terrible and if Tim LeCastro could hit the baseball, we wouldn't have to see them play every day. But unfortunately, that's what we're at because the options anyone else is better. And knowing the Yankees, they wouldn't call up Oswald Peraza because they wouldn't want to manipulate his service time. So they'd probably call up Tyler Wade, which I would be thrilled with. Fuck it. Tyler Wade is twice the baseball player Marwin is. Tyler Wade wouldn't go up there and put up a negative 67 WRC plus in literally a month's worth of baseball. Like, come on, dude. It's just pitiful. And I know I'm like ranting, and like some of the fans, of Fireside Yankees may love it. Some may hate it. But it's like when it gets to a point where it's just the same old, and you see them trying to get through it and just like say, Aaron, we're going to push you through it. And Marwin, you're going to just keep playing because we think you have value. It gets very kind of like spit in your face a little bit, where it's like, do they not care enough? I know Stanton's injured. I get that. We're battling injuries. We're wanting to save Judge and not play him every day in the outfield. So he's even DHing a bit more. And I like what we're doing with Osvaldo Cabrera. But there's still more to be done. We called up Florio for him to sit on the bench 3 out of 4 games. Why? What the hell is Aaron Hicks or Marwin
That's what I was
Gonzalez
gonna
doing
say.
to take at bats from him?
I'd rather put Judge back in right and Estevan Florio in center. At the very least, he's a good. I mean, we've seen him make a couple of good defensive plays.
That shoestring catch to save the when Ron
Yeah, it was
Ladon was
nasty.
pitching a couple of days was filthy.
Nasty. And to build on top of that, he did have that RBI single. It was like a slow one, just got past the infield. But hey, a single's a single. Runners in scoring position, that's already more valuable than Aaron Hicks has contributed, and it's a small sample size. The thing about Florial is that he's going to strike out a lot, and he needs like a lot of at-bats to get going. Like, you can't take him out after a couple days. Cabrera, for the record, he's a streaker hitter, and for the record, Cabrera has been like, he's only hitting like, I think sub 200 right now because he's faced against Scherzer.
He's played 6 games.
He's played 6 games, but also like his cuts are great. Like, he's actually making good contact.
Dude, he barreled against Scherzer yesterday, and it went to deep left center. And I was like, dude, a little bit more underneath that, and that would have been an off the wall double. Like, and that was, he worked the count to, I don't know if it was full, but I think it was a 6 pitch at bat. Yeah,
he was 0-2.
Like, that's the thing. Like, he's putting together quality at bats, where it's like there's something there. And then, of course, his defense has been damn near lights out, aside from the guess who fucked it up with him, Marwin Gonzalez play yesterday, which, say what you may, it probably was the outfielder's ball. But when you watch the replay, you can literally see Osvaldo go like this. I got it. And then Marwin's just like, I got it. And then just drops it. It's like, God. And then, of course, the next batter, Vogie, hits a 2-run dong. Like, those types of mistakes, I don't feel like would be happening if we didn't have the players like Aaron Hicks, Marwin Gonzalez playing every day, if that makes sense. Like, if we get some guys that are at least better at their position and have confidence in their play, you'll see it tenfold. Aaron Hicks doesn't have confidence to even try to jump up and rob a home run anymore, which is why there was the double doink. Like, Marwin Gonzalez doesn't even have the confidence to yell at his middle infield rookie counterpart, I've got this, back off. Like, there are just things that are happening all over the field with these guys. And I know this episode is mainly about Hicks, but we did loop Marwin into it because they're one and the same in the way they play and in the amount they play right now. It's just, you cannot be doing that come next month. Because if next month we got guys that are still injured, and we're still doing this, I'm going to be a bit pissed off because it's like, look, I get we still have injuries, but we have now expanded rosters. So you have at least one more spot. And one of these 2 guys is going to be displaced by someone on that final spot.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're moving Oswaldo Cabrera around as much as the Yankees have, right field, third base, second base, shortstop, eventually he's going to make an error. Eventually he's going to be, okay, you know what? I have no consistency. I have no chemistry with Marwin Gonzalez playing right field. And look, Cabrera, young, he was definitely deep in the outfield at that point. I think that should have been the right fielder's ball, and I think he'll learn from that moving forward.
Sure,
he probably was just watching it, didn't realize how deep he was. He was trying to call it off, and Marwin, a loud stadium, a big moment there. I get it. Like, it was a mistake, and Vogelbach launches one right after. So, the reality is like that, I think, was a mistake on Cabrera's part. But maybe a veteran outfielder, someone that, like a Judge, if he's playing there every day, is able to call him off, or like Cabrera
Judge
knows,
would have
like,
made it. Judge would have made his like presence known. Like, that's the thing. You watch it back, and it looks like honestly, Marwin's like yelling like mine. Like, at the very end, while Oswaldo's like going like this, yelling, I got it. Whereas I feel like if there's Judge, you'd know to look behind you, and Judge would be like, back up. This one's mine. It's shallow right. This is easily mine. Whereas in Marwin, it's like, he doesn't even know if he's going to be able to get there until the very end. And he's like, mine. And it's like, any competent player wouldn't have this problem. But that's what you're saying.
Judge would have just bodied Cabrera anyway.
Yeah, and he would have caught it still.
He would still would have caught it.
Like, he would have stiff armed him, and then he would have caught it with the other glove. Like that. It's just. Meanwhile, Marwin like almost like falls down, runs into him. The ball sits there in front of him for a second. It's like, oh my Lord, like this cannot be happening. And then the next pitch, dude, Luckily, we were able to battle back and had no got around it. Benny, dude, I'm so happy. Benny Bonds. He's been playing so well the last few days.
He has been.
Like I think 5 or 6 games, he's been like OPS in like 1100.
Yeah, no, Benintendi's been getting hot here, which is what we needed. But guys, I think Aaron Hicks is done. Like they're gonna this winter will be covered in. Obviously, they're definitely gonna be looking to move
Yeah.
on.
He's not. Do you think he'll be on the postseason roster? Final question for the Epi.
It depends what the injury
Like
situation looks
healthy. Let's
like.
say that's healthy Carp, healthy Benintendi, healthy Stanton, healthy Bader, healthy Judge. I do not see how Hicks fits in there.
I don't think
I just
so.
don't.
I don't think he will be. But I
Yeah.
think if someone gets hurt, they'll probably pull him up. He'll be the
They
first
have to, yeah.
alternative.
Sadly, unless they DFA him and he doesn't, and someone picks him up.
I doubt it. His money's too much. No one's gonna.
True. He's just
You got
gonna
to
sit on
eat
the bench.
that.
The Yankees are just gonna sit there with. Oh, that's so crazy.
This is another. This is like Ellsbury, but if Ellsbury was healthy and just sucked,
Yeah, that's
and
the
he was
thing.
still getting paid.
And luckily though, I will say Ellsbury's making twice as much Hicks was, and then that whole fallout was because of Ellsbury lying about not being injured and not being at different treatment facilities, and then shagging on the Yankees. Fuck you, Jacoby Ellsbury, if you watch this show. But Aaron Hicks, dude, at least Hicks like cares enough to try hard, and admit he's sucking. Like I don't think I've ever once heard Jacoby Ellsbury say, "Yeah, I didn't do my part with the Yankees." It's always those guys sucked. They didn't do anything right. I was always injured because of their poor management. They didn't pay me what I deserved. And it's like, Jacoby, dude, you didn't deserve to get the bag you got, but you did. So relax. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, but guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Aaron Hicks. If you think that he's going to be a contributor down the stretch here, definitely an interesting situation. But as always, make sure to like and subscribe below on YouTube. Appreciate all the love. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.